Hello. There are many reasons why a lawsuit or legal claim can fail. Not all of them depend on the actual plaintiff or defendant, on the judge, on the court, and the court system, but some are clearly attributable to some sort of misunderstanding about what is the law about, at least what is civil law is about, because there is a difference between civil and criminal, as you probably know. And when it comes to civil lawsuit, civil case, civil claim, it's important to distinguish between real reality, moral reality, and legal reality. Why it is important? Because in court, only the arguments from legal reality work. The arguments from real and moral reality, mm, well, I would be happy to say that they never work, but sometimes they do, yet they should not. Let's put it this way. And some judges allow those in addition to legal arguments. Some don't. But when it comes to a judgment, at least most of the judges do not take into consideration those arguments that do not have legal value. What is the difference? When you decide to file a lawsuit or bring up a legal claim, you have your personal knowledge of the facts. You saw what happened, you heard what happened, you were there. You might have your own interpretation, but at least you have this first-hand knowledge, the real reality. The judge and even your lawyers do not have that. And however much you can be sure that this is what happened and this is what is owed to you now, unless proven, this doesn't have legal value. So it's not unusual when you or a friend of yours or a relative of yours complain that, yeah, that what happened, and yet the judge decided otherwise. Well, because, probably at least, because the judge didn't see enough evidence. And in the absence of enough evidence, the question would be whose word the judge is there to believe. And as you know, there is a rule that if you are in an attack, like if the attack is yours, then it's on you to prove that you're right. And sometimes maybe the judge was even inclined to believe you, but it was not enough uh, to consider that you actually had proven your side of the story. And then it's not the question if the judge believed the other party more. The question is like, what was lacking for the judge to believe you enough, like legally enough, so that the judgment would be well founded. And if the judge, even having all the sympathies towards you, if the judge doesn't see legal grounds to justify a decision in your favor, then the judge most probably, at least by the letter of the Civil Code and Code of Civil Procedure of Quebec, uh, should render a judgment in favor of the defendant. Well, sometimes the legal burden is reversed, there are rules and so forth, but this is the idea. It's not only, and it's not even primarily whom the judge would believe personally. It's about what can be like proven before the judge. So real reality and reality as it is presented in court, those are different. Even worse, when you wish to go to court on moral grounds, because moral grounds are relative. They depend on a culture, on sometimes even like age, sometimes on just the level of education, sometimes of the current like ideological situation and so forth, or even more often than that on your personal understanding of how the world should be and what are the rights of yours that should be in this world. And it's very often like unpleasantly surprising and discouraging to find out that in the legal world, this high moral ground is not of much value if some fault can be allocated to yourself. And sometimes a lot of fault can be allocated to yourself, even if the other party is also at fault. But at the end, it might so happen that in the eyes of the judge, whatever were the moral grounds, the actual proven actions show that you were at fault equally or maybe sometimes more than the other party. Like, for example, in cases of defamation, it may be the other party initiated a bad mouthing, but it was you who made it like widely spread and known to a lot of people, maybe because of your outrage, but still, therefore, you caused yourself more damage than the other party. At least in some cases, that's the reasoning the judges use. So again, if the best argument you have, if the only argument you have is moral, then probably your case is not ready to enter the legal ground. Legal is what can be proven, and not simply proven, but proven based on the standards as they're provided in applicable laws and applicable statutes. So there are tests, there are levels, there are factors, there are criteria, and wherever you think of it, wherever sometimes when you saw or you're sure that you saw or heard, the question is, can it be fit within those tests, factors, criteria? And if sometimes this part is the most, mm, the worst, the most outrageous, the most enraging you in the case, but your lawyer might advise you that it's better to concentrate on this because this can be proven, this can fit into a test, and this, however important it is to you, it does not simply fit within the legal rules. That might be discouraging. That might be, as we mentioned, unpleasantly surprising. But if in such a situation, sometimes having read like here and there some pieces of the civil code or something, you would think that you would frame your claim, your situation, your legal grounds better than a legal professional. Well, you might be wrong. I'm not saying that you're always wrong, but you might be. So a good consultation is your first. And second, it's important that when you hear your lawyer's advice and you think that it's heartless and discouraging, it might be simply because the lawyer would know what would go and fit within the criteria of like legal reality, as opposed to what you know as real and moral reality. Long ago in the university, law school, our professors had this tendency and even habit to repeat one thing: law is not about fair. It seemed to be a joke then, but the more and more, it's a proven legal reality. So have that in mind when you prepare your case, when you decide if you wish your case to be heard in court. Thank you, and have a nice day.